subscribe, guys. Hey guys, just finished watching Arrow Season 6, Episode 5, Deathstroke Returns. This episode was pretty cool, dealing with the whole, vigilante and dealing all through with the Deathstroke storyline and stuff, and then him trying to find his son and finding his son and all that stuff. It was interesting also in this episode that we even got Felicity in this episode. I thought she'd be in like the first 5 seconds of this episode, like first minute, and then just kind of be like, oh, I'm going off to... I'm off for Iris's bachelorette party type thing. Peace. And see that, and then this, it sounds like she just got back from it. So I think it's pretty cool. I liked how they were able to then make it so that she was able to, she was able to do, like, Emily Ricard was able to film both shows. I mean, she wasn't in a lot of this episode as much as she was in the other thing, but still, she didn't feel like she was even missing from this episode whatsoever. She was fully prominent in this episode. It was cool seeing that. And I also would have liked to have seen, a few more references to what happened on Arrow, to what happened on Flash, because I'm kind of feeling, I'd be curious to ask her to find out if she did Emily Ricard film this before she actually went over to film The Flash, because it feels like they kind of did, based on, how little she talked about it type of thing. So it would have been cool to see, it'd be cool to find out, if she filmed this before The Flash, which she recently just did in The Flash and stuff. But I would have liked to see a little bit more crossovers between that, just like a little... her talking about, oh yeah, this guy, she has this, and Caitlin, oh my god, Caitlin has this whole new, and just kind of even just this, like, getting back from this commercial break, and someone interrupt her in the middle of telling, like, Diggle or Oliver, so, like, stuff that she's done and stuff like that over on The Flash, like, updating them about Barry, and updating them about, Wally's gone, and updating them about, the elongated man. That would be really cool. It's like, oh, he stretches, really? And then Diggle's reaction could be funny to just a word that she said, I think that would be a cool way. Like, let's say she called the team meeting and Diggle's the first one there, and they're waiting for everyone else to show up type thing, and she's telling him about, elongated man, Caitlin as Killer Frost and her storyline, and things like that. I think that would have been really cool. All it takes is like half a word or a couple of words that she finishes off as Dinah walks in, and then she cuts her off type thing, as if she's updating, Diggle or someone, or even Oliver, I forget if Curtis has met the Flash team, has teamed up with the Flash yet. That's one of the ones I'm not sure yet if that's happening, but definitely would be cool to see different things like that. See her kind of talking about and confirming, like, oh, it was cool there, and teasing what she did on there. So if you're only watching Arrow, you'd be like, oh, cool, I'm gonna go watch that episode of Flash. That sounds interesting. Elongated man, that sounds cool. I think that would be a really cool idea to do that, just to get the people who are only watching Arrow to jump over and stuff. But getting to this episode was really good. It was a really great episode. There's just one big thing that really blew me out of this episode and just pissed me right off. It was just the Dinah Drake in confronting Vigilante, at the station where they were recording the interview with the mayor, trying to the politician trying to do the Vigilante act and all that stuff. And Dinah, the lights go out, and then boom, Dinah's in her costume with the freaking eye makeup over her eyes. That still pisses me off that Curtis can't just make some sort of lens, some sort of glasses, something. And the same exact cop she was just talking to less than a minute ago, before the lights go. Like, how did he not recognize her? It was just so stupid, the whole scene. The scene on its own would have been, it was good, it was a cool scene, but the fact that she was in costume just kind of ruined that scene for me. And I understand why they're going for it in costume, because it's costume, and it's, I get that, but like, she could have just been the cop and used her canary's cry and just say that she was the cop, like, maybe even... I don't know, it just didn't make sense as she completely changed her entire outfit and painted her eyes and put on the mask, and it was just like, oh, it would have been worse. The only thing would have been worse is if it had been Mr. Terrific instead of her in that same situation, with him, braiding his entire hair in like 10 seconds type thing. Like, I almost wish they would have had like a little bit of a red flash of lightning around her, to suggest that maybe, someone called in a favor from Barry, and he just zipped over, picked her up, dressed her, and then moved her in that 10 seconds or 5 seconds that the lights were out. I don't know. I know it's something I should be focusing on or whatever, but not a big deal. But it just took me out of the episode because it was so glaringly obvious that, and like, she shouldn't have done that in that situation, because everyone was under that. She told Diggle to stay away as the Hood. First, she lets him on the scene instead of talking to him outside of the crime scene, outside of the boundaries of the police have set up. She could have just, instead of calling him in and saying, yeah, he's with me, and him coming into the crime scene, she could have just stepped out of the crime scene and gone to talk with him outside of the crime scene, away from the FBI, away from the person who's trying to hunt them down, trying to find out, prove that they're Team Arrow and stuff like that. So I don't know. There's just silly things like that. First thing with the Diggle thing, I was like, okay, maybe I'll let that slide because, like she said at the end, can leave here before she sees you type thing. But then she goes and does that thing, and it's just so stupid, and it was just she could have done the same exact thing. And I get the idea of how she wanted to have the Black Canary, have the vigilante that she's trying to this politician is trying to make illegal, trying to pursue and put in prison and all that stuff, being saved by the person. I get that type thing. By trying to be saved by the person she's criminalizing type thing. But I think there just should have been a better way of thinking and making it go around where she could have, I don't know. It was just such a terrible idea. She used her scream at the beginning of the episode without her costume. She couldn't use her scream in this way without her costume. Go from afar and make it look like without showing the person who she was, but just using the scream, and she could go, "Oh, that scream, it's Black Canary. I know that scream." I don't think the politician had to see who she was, so she could have been in plain clothes in the dark, using her scream from afar, and the politician would have ran away like, "Oh my God, the Black Canary saved my life," type thing, without even ever seeing the Black Canary type thing. I think there could have been a way to do that, and then you could have had her kite down once the politician was gone, and have this talk between Black Canary and Vigilante and stuff, and have this heart-to-heart talk and stuff like that. So there just would have been there should have been so many other ways to do that. And again, it was just. Sometimes I wish kind of when they do these things that don't make sense, when time-wise, how fast they got to this location or to that location. Sometimes I almost wish that they had the Flash here. In one episode of Arrow, I remember he needed a favor from. I think was it Captain Singh or Joe's the captain of the Central City Department, and Oliver called up a favor and texted Barry, and you just saw the flash, and boom, for like a second he was on there. Grant Gustin wasn't even on there. It was just a CGI version of the Flash on Arrow type thing. So I think that would have been a cool thing to see things like that, where you don't actually see Grant Gustin or anything like that. You just see that the Flash took 10 seconds to zip over, move him from one location to another when they really need it. I think that would be cool to see things like that. Although in this situation, like I said, it would have been better to just have her in the shadow. She uses her screen from behind the politician, away from her. She doesn't see who it is or anything like that, but just that she hears the scream, She would have recognized the scream. The scream is iconic. It's a Black Canary. There was Black Canary before. There was Laurel's Black Canary. So Black Canary is a known figure. There was the freaking statue in the. I think that's now gone now, but there was the statue that Black Siren took down a while ago. So I don't know. There's so many other ways they could have done that scene instead of having her just popping into her costume out of nowhere. Like it was so stupid. It is cool that Vigilante has this power though, that he heals and all that stuff, and being his. Being their ex-lovers and things like that, an ex-partner and all that. That's kind of an interesting storyline to see the two different sides of the same story, and building that up and stuff like that. But it was just that's one scene just kind of ruined the whole episode for me. The rest of it, other than that, was a solid episode. It was cool seeing Slade Wilson at the end terminating, and him being called the Terminator and stuff was pretty cool. And seeing him fight and go through the guys and stuff was pretty cool. Although there was a few times during that fight, although it was I get the idea they were trying to do a Daredevil style one long shot fight scene, no cut type thing, which kind of was pretty good. Just for a few times where it looked like, there was one guy who was on a table and Slade Wilson took a sword at, and it looks like he jumped over it or he went underneath his feet, and it didn't even, and the guy was down. Like, it was just, there was a few times too. There was also another time where Slade Wilson had a guy pinned up against the wall, and he was banging on the thing, and you could tell that the gun wasn't even hitting the guy, it was just hitting the posts behind, because of some of it was a little bit bad, but other stuff was pretty cool, where when she stabbed right through the guys and stuff. So The fight scenes, all in all, was pretty good. There's just a few actual moves within the fight scenes that I saw that I noticed. Those two moves would kind of look real fake to me. Those two moves, but the rest of it still looked believable and stuff. And so yeah, all in all, it was a good episode. It's just that Black Canary jumping in their suit in 10 seconds and then being out of it in 10 seconds was kind of just terrible. It was just stupid. I mean, I still don't like the fact that they have she paints his eye. They paint their eyes. That still bugs me and all that stuff. But yeah. So all in all, this episode was a good episode. Like it has here on 9.2 on IMDb. I would give it maybe an 8.5, so it's pretty good. But those things are big problems for me that I think need to be fixed for later on. They can't do them too often because it's just going to drive me crazy seeing that. So let me know what you think, guys. Put this in the comments below. What did you think about it? And do you have the same problems that I did? And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
I'm Captain America, here to talk to you about one of the most valuable traits a soldier or student can have.
Subscribing.
Sometimes is the key to victory. Sometimes it leads to very little, and it seems like it's not worth it. And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing. How many more of these?
You're still here.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Peace.
It's over.